Hey VC, how's it going? Hope everybody had a great weekend. This is actually my second attempt to post this video. I had filmed the whole thing and I was editing it and something went wrong with iMovie and yeah, it just got messed up. So I'm here trying it again, just starting over, and yeah, hopefully I'll do a decent job since I've already talked about all these before. But yeah, I got some good stuff this month, and most of it was actually through trading, either through my local record store or with people online or with one of my viewers, which I'll mention in a little bit. But I actually have one cassette that I bought at my fiance's work. You know, she manages Half Price Books. So this is like the coolest thing that I've found in the cassettes. It was like this and like the Lion King soundtrack, which I didn't get, but I kind of wish I did. But anyway, yeah, this is the Tragically Hip. This one's called Road Apples. I think this is one of their, I think it's like their third, maybe second or third record. 91 this is from. But yeah, Tragically Hip, they're new to me. I know a lot of VC members are fans, and I know that one of their members died like last year. But this is really great, like jangly, sort of indie rock, if you're a fan of like REM and things like that. Really fantastic. They're Canadian. Okay, so LPs. I got both of these at Half Price Books as well, and they are without covers. So they were marked at 25 cents each, and 50% off on top of that, so 12.5 cents. And I'll find covers for these later. But the records were pretty nice. I kind of saved them with wood glue. This is the Superfly soundtrack by Curtis Mayfield. You know, kind of a classic, a big hole in my collection. Scuffed and scratched up, but I saved it. And this one was really cool and a little disappointing because it has an edge warp and it actually causes a skip on the first track. But this is John Lee Hooker. I'm John Lee Hooker on the VJ label. Yeah, so the wood glue. I brought those home. I gave them a wet clean. Still super scratched and had like some deep dirt in there because they were without covers. So I just, you know, applied wood glue to both sides. They were kind of my first attempt at cleaning records with wood glue. So let's kind of talk about that for a second. I use, you know, you're supposed to use this kind of wood glue, the Type Bond 2, with the blue label and everything. There's like a couple of different kinds of this brand, but apparently you want this one because it won't mess up the plastic in any way. If you mess up with a peeling and you leave little bits in there, it's really easy to get off with water. You know, just wet clean it, and it dries, you know, a couple hours, and I think the results were pretty great. So yeah, I totally recommend trying this on some cheap records if you've never tried it before. You might be surprised with the results. I think they improved the quality of those records. It brought them up from like probably a G plus to a solid VG on in the case of the John Lee Hooker, on the parts that don't skip. So anyway, moving on to records with covers, so we can finally show some artwork. Electric Mud by Muddy Waters. I've had a repress of this, the Third Man Records reissue from either this year or last year, I think. But this is an original. It's the version with the black cover, obviously, and it's on the Cadet Concept label. So kind of a sister record to the Howlin' Wolf album that I've shown a little while ago. And kind of the story behind this, I think this is from like 69, 68, 69. So Muddy Waters, obviously famous blues guy. A lot of people are kind of getting famous off of emulating his sound or covering his songs, notably the Rolling Stones. And so on this record, he's kind of like taking his sound back, doing his thing, and he actually does a Stones cover on here. Yeah, this is a pretty well-known blues record. But again, blues, it's kind of a new thing to me. I'm the one that's getting into it for the first time, not you guys. So these two, I'll start with this one. Obviously, Core of the Crimson King. This is the '83 reissue on the Editions EG label looks like this. This is like supposedly half-speed master, I think. I have an original US pressing on Atlantic. I always thought that kind of sounded not amazing. So I thought I would compare it to this, and I actually kind of prefer the Atlantic version to this one. So, yeah, but it was cheap. I thought I would give it a try, and I can always trade it. And this one, you know, I had gotten Sabbath's other 3 records really recently, so I got the 4th one finally. I'm just steadily making my way through the discography. This is a 76 repressing from France on the NEMS label. I'll go ahead and pull that out. I always forget to pull out labels. Yeah, it looks like that. Really amazing condition, the record. I would actually call that a near mint, if not VG+. And the cover sadly has like a tiny little bit of damage on like the bottom corners there, but that's really it. It's a really amazing copy otherwise. Did I show the gatefold? I don't think I did. Yeah. Sabbath, again, new to me, well-known classic. Another one that's slightly newer to me, I kind of got into this like last year really heavily. I'd always kind of known about this band, but again, just getting into it. 9 Inch Nails, Downward Spiral. This is the newest repress, 2017. The definitive edition. I think it's like double 180 gram. Either way, super heavy vinyl. Really nice quality. You know, came with the plastic line inner sleeves, which is always great, as well as printed sleeves. It has this booklet with it, with lots of write-ups and photographs and things, talking about the making of the album, and pictures of the band and things like that. But yeah, Trent Reznor, the story goes, you know, he recorded this in the house where Sharon Tate was murdered in Hollywood, and that's kind of a great example of just kind of the darkness that album has. It's super, you know, just black, dark, depressing music, industrial, gothic, whatever you want to call it. I think it's really, really great though. It's a great concept record. Okay, and I've shown this one on Facebook. It's Fugazi Red Medicine. This is an original press from '95, and you can tell because of the, in the corner down here, it says like $7 post-paid. But I was also talking about this on Facebook. The difference in first pressings and repressings for Discord records, which this is on, is so minimal that it really doesn't matter. The first pressings aren't really that much more expensive than the repressings, except for ones that for some reason just are. Like some of the Minor Threat stuff for some reason is really expensive, even though it's almost exactly the same. I think they may have changed like the colors on some of the covers and things like that. But for a record like this, there's like no real huge difference between this and the I think like a 2009 repress is the last time it was, and that's still in print. You can still get it for super cheap. And what am I trying to say? Yeah, Discord is a weird thing, and that's just a big part of the sickness, as Dean would call it, with especially with punk collectors. I feel, you know, they just want the first pressing, and some people go a little crazy with it. I got a good deal on that because I traded a I don't even remember what I traded, honestly. Well, I traded that this month, and I got that. I thought it was a good deal. Okay, so these last couple are all from the same trade I did with one of my viewers called Brandon. He reached out to me on Reddit on one of my sale posts, and, you know, wanted to trade some stuff for a couple of my records, and we worked out a really good deal. I hope he's happy with his records, and I'm definitely happy with mine. I'll go ahead and show these. Most of these have water damaged covers, as you can see, but I got another copy of Volume 4. I think this will probably be the one I keep. I'll upgrade the cover eventually, but the record is pretty good. I also did the wood glue thing with this, improved it noticeably. I would say I actually brought it up from like a G to like a solid VG again. So yeah, original US pressing. I'm pretty sure this is the first pressing of this record, but someone correct me if I'm wrong. The Rolling Stones, Some Girls. You know, it's got the die cut thing with all the celebrity faces. This cover is actually really nice, as you can see, and the record is pretty nice as well. I don't think this is a reissue of any kind. Not my favorite Stones record, but, you know, it's got some good songs on here, like Beasts of Burden, the title track, things like that. Really happy to have this finally. This one I'm going to keep in the sleeve because I just kind of don't want to touch it, honestly. Aftermath by the Rolling Stones. It's an original US mono red label, but with some really bad water damage on the front and back. Obviously, it's, you know, it's tearing. Every time I would pull it out of the sleeve, it would just kind of get a little bit worse, so I'm not going to pull it out anymore, and this one I'm going to keep on the outside. But great record, obviously. The huge track on the US version here is Paint It Black. It's also got Under My Thumb, Stupid Girl, Lady Jane, and on the B-side has a really long track called, I think it's called Going Home. Yeah, kind of, you know, showing more psychedelic leanings there, but really fantastic. And this one I was kind of ashamed to admit I didn't have in my collection for the longest time. I just never sought it out as like a priority. But as I'm kind of plugging the holes in my collection, this is a band that's kind of sticking out like a sore thumb, and that is the classic Led Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin 4. As you can see, the cover's got a little bit of water damage. It's not quite as bad as like the Stones one. Original US pressing. Always loved this gatefold. You know, it reminds me of like Gandalf. And it's on the Atlantic label, as you can see. The vinyl is actually really nice again. But, you know, classics on here like Black Dog, Rock and Roll, Stairway to Heaven, Missy Mountain Hop, and When the Levee Breaks, probably one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. But a track on here that I was kind of surprised by re-listening to how much I enjoyed it. I had never really been a fan of the track The Battle of Evermore. But as I was looking at the liner notes as I was listening to the record, you can see that, you know, Sandy Denny features on The Battle of Evermore. And that was a connection I had never made until, obviously, just then. And I was never a fan of that type of music. Like, she's from Fairport Convention, I believe. But that kind of British folk revival thing, that whole movement through the late 60s. You know, now that I'm getting into it, and things like Incredible String Band or the Pentangle, I find more appreciation for that track, The Battle of Evermore. So yeah, just kind of my 2 cents on this. It's a good record. I need the other ones. I need 1, 2, and 3. And Physical Graffiti, and I think I'll be happy with Zeppelin. I already have Houses of the Holy. Okay, and the rest of these that he traded for me, he gave me a big box of cassettes. I'm only keeping this many. There were probably 3 times as many. These are all from his, I think they said his grandmother's cafe that she ran. So it's a lot of like mid to late 60s and early 70s country. But there's a couple of other ones in here that kind of stick out as not being country. So yeah, there's like, I lost count of how many are here in this stack. And sorry, just reorganizing a little bit. First one here is another Stones, Honky Tonk Women. The B-side is You Can't Always Get What You Want. Obviously, 2 classic tracks from Let It Bleed, but I never had the 45 before, so that's cool. Bing Crosby, his version of White Christmas, and God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. I always like the track White Christmas, you know. Christmas is coming up really fast, so that'll be a good one. Fats Domino on Imperial, Blueberry Hill, and Honey Chili. The Jackson 5, I'll Be There, and One More Chance is the B-side, that's on Motown. Some Little Richard on Specialty. Keep It Knockin', Can't Believe You Wanna Leave, Ooh My Soul, and True Fine Mama. And then you really get into the country after that. A lot of classics on here, like this one I was kind of taken by surprise because I didn't recognize who Hank Wilson was, but I knew the Shelter label. And after minimal Googling, I discovered that it's actually Leon Russell, and he has a record called, why am I blanking on the name now? It's like Hank Wilson's Back, or Return of Hank Wilson, something like that. But, you know, it's him posing as like a country star and doing some country classics like this Lester Flatt song, Roll in My Sweet Baby's Arms, and then he has a Hank Williams cover, I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. This one was really interesting. I got a good laugh out of this. This song is called The Pill. It's by Loretta Lynn. The B-side is Will You Be There? But The Pill is a song about birth control, and it made me laugh just how unfiltered and just straight up about the concept of birth control that she is. So, really funny track. Give it a listen if you haven't heard it. And then there's a bunch of Merle Haggard and some Johnny Cash. Nothing really too crazy. I mean, there's a Sun label here. It's a little dirty. Like Johnny Cash, Home of the Blues with Give My Love to Rose. What else is there? Oh, Charlie Louvin and Melvin Montgomery, Did You Ever? And Don't Believe Me. Charlie Louvin from the Louvin Brothers. I just thought that was really interesting. I'd never seen any of his solo records before. Waylon Jennings, I've Always Been Crazy. Buck Owens and the Buckaroos, Johnny Be Good. Behind Closed Doors by Charlie Rich. I already had a copy of this, a reissue or a repressing, but this is an original with the yellow label, obviously. So yeah, that's kind of all the 45s. I know I kind of blazed through those quickly, but I think I spent too much time on my first attempt at this video talking about those. But yeah, that was a great trade. So again, thanks Brandon for that. And yeah, me and my life, things are settling down here in Waco. Finally, I've got a more consistent schedule, so I think I'll be moving my upload date to probably Sunday, because I'll have Sundays off now, and you know, Friday and Saturday are actually typically pretty busy for me now, but Sunday should be good. So kind of expect the regular uploads on Sundays from now on. And again, sorry for not posting this sooner, but like I said, this is my second attempt, and I hope everyone's having a great time here in the VC. I really enjoyed the contest I just entered. The drawing was yesterday, and congrats to the winners to those for Steve Carlson's contest. I saw Noble Records has a contest that he just started. I'll probably be entering that really soon. So maybe that'll be my next video. But until then, hang in there, have fun, listen to music, enjoy it. That's what I'll be doing. Take care.